Hey, what's up YouTube friends? Brody Man here, the Vintage Nerd. Let me start off by saying, man, has it been a while. When I first started this channel, my original intention was to try to upload a video every week, if I had to every 2 weeks, or even every few weeks. At this point, it's easily been a few months. There's not much I can say about it, unfortunately, beyond the fact that life just kind of caught up with me. I work 2 jobs, hashtag single dad life, and all kinds of other excuses I can throw at you guys, but that's neither here nor there. It just is what it is. I haven't completely disappeared. I'm going to continue to try to upload videos when I can. Unfortunately, it's just going to be less frequently than I would like. That being said, I did pop into my channel the other day and was pleasantly surprised to see that I'd acquired a few subscribers. So thank you guys for doing that. Hopefully you get the notification when this one drops. But let's get to it. So today I had delivered my Sideshow Collectibles Jack Burton 6 scale figure. This figure was originally solicited, I want to say, February 2017, and had an initial release date, Q4 2017, and here we are in June 2018. So naturally there was a few delays. That kind of stuff's pretty much to be expected when it comes to the collectibles. The manufacturing overseas, there's just a lot of stuff that can go wrong, and they got to make sure the product meets quality that they need it to before they ship it. So I never sweat that kind of stuff. I see a lot of people get upset when things are getting delayed, and they kind of give up on it. But guys, it is what it is. You just got to be patient. I'd rather get the correct product than something that just is not very good. And speaking of which, I was not part of the first wave of people to get this figure. I've been seeing a few people getting it over the last week and a half or so. People are kind of starting to post their thoughts online. This is a very, very polarizing figure. It just really seems that people either love it or they absolutely hate it. There is no I kind of like it. People have problems with the likeness, some of the paint applications. It mainly has a lot to do with the head sculpt. I try not to let stuff like that sway me. I prefer to have something in hand, form my own opinion. And if I absolutely didn't like a thing, then I'd either return it or sell it. It is what it is. One more thing I should probably disclose before we get into it is a little bit of a bias here. I love Big Trouble in Little China. Love it. I remember being a real little kid watching it when it was a brand new movie on VHS cassette. Kids, ask your parents. And I remember even as a kid watching this movie, not even being able to watch all of it. It actually used to scare me, parts of it, because John Carpenter just has a way with playing with the tones in his movie and in his movies, and there was actually parts of this movie that used to scare the hell out of me, so I couldn't even watch all of it. But with time, I watched the movie more and more and more as I got older, and not only did it become one of my favorite films, but Kurt Russell as Jack Burton is one of my favorite movie characters.
Who? Jack Burton. Me.
So when I saw this figure go up on the solicit, it was an instant pre-order, no questions asked. I was in for sure. So let's go ahead and crack it open. Let's get into it, and let's see what we got here. Alright, so here's the box. Initial reaction, wow. This box is loud. And not loud in a bad way, but man, it's loud. It's a colorful box. It's kind of got what looks like, kind of like tattoo artist renderings all over it, cartoony tattoo artist. I think it's probably an homage to Egg's bus in the movie. I remember his bus being painted with a dragon on it. I know the truck had the Pork Chop Express, but that was a pig, and it didn't quite look like this. This looks more like Egg's bus. And it goes all the way around the box, as you can see, even on the side panels, bottom. Back of the box has the Guardian on it. Front of the box obviously had the figure on it. One thing I'm looking at now and I'm noticing doesn't list any of the artists on the box. I don't know if that's more like a Hot Toys thing but that's kind of a shame. You know, I like to see when they give credit to the artist right there on the front. My box came with a little ding in the corner. Oh well, I mean, obviously I don't display the box. The only thing that would hurt is if I did decide to sell the figure one day and I was selling it to somebody who was really anal about such things. But, you know, that's not a big deal in my book. Oh well. Let's see what we got inside. Alright. Probably getting a pretty good shine on that. You're probably not seeing that very well, so I will take them out of the package. Just want you to see what you're getting in the front there. You know, it's got a little sleeve on the front, kind of holding the plastic shell in. And that slides right out. Wraps around the bubble, holding everything in place. Piece of tape on the back. So let me get to that and let's start looking at this figure. Alright, looks like on the back side here we have the base, Big Trouble in Little China. It's more of that emblazoned look that you've been kind of seeing you know, Hot Toys do. So it's not colored, it's just kind of more like you have to catch it at an angle in order to see it. You know, it's subtle. Extra hands, we got the crotch grabber there, and I'm assuming that guy is the Guardian. He's nice and wrapped, so we'll save him for last. Alright, and then this half of the shell we have the figure itself. Don't want to tilt it up too much because all this stuff is actually loose in there. We got an additional set of hands, the infamous All in the Reflexes knife that killed Lopan, Jack's Tech 9 in the top corner there. It's got an extra clip, or the clip for the gun. So looking pretty nice so far. Let me see if I can slide some of this stuff out without dropping everything. Alright, and here's the figure. So first impressions, he looks pretty good. I'm digging it. You know, right now he's got the full getup on. This is kind of, you know, what he starts off wearing in the movie. It's not Jack's most iconic look. You know, he doesn't really wear the denim jacket for very long. But, you know, it's on the figure. Should probably take some time to appreciate it, you know, before I take that off to kind of get the more iconic look. You know, the material all looks pretty good. You know, the denim, you know, it looks and feels like denim. You know, when it comes to these kind of things, they hang a little stiff, you know, so I feel like that takes a little bit of you know, playing with it, maybe, you know, hitting it with a hair dryer or something, kind of try to stiffen, you know, or loosen up parts of it. But all in all, this is looking pretty good. But let's take a look at, you know, everybody's big gripe here, the head sculpt. Alright guys, so here's the head sculpt. Kind of played with the lighting here a little bit so you can get as detailed of a look at this as you possibly can deliver. Unfortunately, you know, I got bad lighting here, so it's going to wash out some of the colors a little bit. But at least hopefully you'll be able to see the detail in the sculpt itself. So, you know, my first impression is it looks like a really good Kurt Russell to me. You know, I might not be the best judge for, you know, saying like, oh, this looks wrong, you know, or this part of the face is too thick or, you know, too narrow, whatever. All in all, it looks really good to me. The hair does look a little big. You know, he had big hair in the movie, but I don't think it was necessarily, you know, fluffed out this much. But when you're talking, you know, a head sculpt, you know, or actually sculpted hair, I should say, you know, I think it's kind of hard to, you know, to find that happy medium. So this is just a very exaggerated, you know, version of the hairstyle that he rocked in the movie. So it looks good. You know, the choice of facial expression, that's a tough one. You know, I'm actually not a big fan of neutral faces, even though that's how most of these things come out. And I know they come out with a neutral face because, you know, it kind of lends itself to the most poses, you know. But they didn't go necessarily neutral here. They went a little bit more inquisitive, kind of like he has the look on his face. And it makes sense. If you really think about that movie, you know, Kurt Russell spends half of that movie questioning everything that's going on around him. You know, he's like the most...
Tell me what is going on. What alley?
What? What is it, a parade?
This does what again, exactly?
I can't ask
Where is it?
What is that, huh?
So where is he, Egg? Huh? Sensational. What's in it, Egg?
Where from?
Where in the hell are we?
Where the hell are we?
This gets worse. Come on. Where's this go now?
Where'd you get that?
Were they real?
You know, he's like the most clueless person in the movie, he's supposed to be. So in a way, it kind of captures the spirit of, you know, Jack Burton. You know, he has no fucking clue what's going on. Beep. I cussed. Anyways, probably the big complaint for me here, and it actually looks a little bit better on the video maybe than it does in hand, is his color on the face. The paint texturing is actually really good. You know, the skin texturing looks good. He's got a little bit of the 5 o'clock shadow going. He just looks a little washed out to me. I kind of feel like Kurt Russell was maybe a little bit more tan in the movie, you know. This here, he looks really pale compared to how he looked in the movie. But, you know, it's not terrible. It's just something I noticed. Let me see if I can spin the head around for you guys. There's just certain angles, you know, when you turn it and like you're like, oh yeah, those profiles or those 3/4 shots where you're like, oh, 100% that looks like him. You know, that looks really good to me. That looks great. You know, the facial expression is questionable, but I still love it. I think he looks great. Good job, Sideshow. All right, went ahead and plopped him on the stand for this, just, you know, make it a little bit easier for him to stand upright. Quick little, you know, look at the boots. This is also a very iconic part of Jack Burton's getup, and these look awesome. I mean, they look spot on, great. You know, obviously they're just rubber molded boots. The laces aren't actual laces, they're all just sculpted on. Everything is sculpted on it, but all around, you know, the look, they look great. Weathered. You know, they got the kind of wrinkles in the boots. They look nice and worn. They're awesome. The only thing I could have wished for was, you know, something to hold the knife in place. You know, if you know, kind of sticking out of the bottom of the boot. If you know the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But, you know, don't fret. Boots look awesome. Alright, and then now let's take a quick look at the rest of the outfit here. Now that he's got the denim jacket off, tank top, you know, the application that they used on there, the screen print, whatever it is, looks good. You know, the tank top so-so, you know, it really looks very much like a small piece of fabric kind of sewn into the shape of a tank top, but, you know, it gets the job done. It looks good. Jeans look great. You know, this is actually held in place with a little small button. I think my favorite part of the tailoring on the jeans is, you know, the I don't know, would you call it the pleats or the folds in the pants here, you know, where the knees where the pants tend to bunch up, especially because the boot's pushing up the pants from there. I think that looks awesome. Like, that totally gives it that authentic look. So jeans look great. This is basically the way to display the figure. I can't really see too much reason to throw the denim jacket on him. You know, this just kind of just very much the iconic look. You know, the watch, you can see the watch when he's not wearing the jacket. I think he looks better off like this. The figure is not seamless, you know, so obviously he's got very visible joints. If you're, you know, avid about, you know, trying to get as authentic as you possibly can, then this body's not going to do that for you. You're going to have to get a third-party body. I don't see the point, but, you know, that's just my opinion. I kind of can see one gripe that people do have with the body is the choice here is a little on the lanky side. You know, Kurt Russell isn't necessarily, you know, big old buff dude like Arnie or Sly or something, but he definitely has like a bigger stature about him. He's kind of beefier in that movie in particular. He could be a little bit bigger, but you know, it's scruples, not a big deal. I'm pleased. Good job, Sideshow. All right, let's take a closer look at the accessories here. This is pretty much everything that he comes with. That's not the Guardian. You know, he's got, what do we got? 3 sets of hands, the gun, the knife, and the watch. So, you know, just kind of taking a quick look at the gun. You know, looks pretty authentic to me, but I am not a gun person, so I couldn't tell you with all certainty that's exactly what a Tech 9 is supposed to look like. It does come with the clip here. You can see it's got the rounds on top, you know, kind of gives you the impression that it's a full clip, and that does slide right in like that and just kind of snugs in, doesn't clip in place or anything. Very nice. As we mentioned earlier, the infamous, you know, all in the reflexes knife, the knife that kills Lopan. Very cool. Here's the watch. Trying to remember any specific scenes where they really, you know, kind of reference or focus on the watch, but you know, this looks good to me. Looks very much like a trinket of the time. And then getting over to the hands here, get focused up. We got we got the two you know, I don't know, kind of like relaxed palms. You know, they look like they kind of should be holding something, but you know, they didn't come with anything to hold. But that's as relaxed as Jack Burton's hands get. It comes with 2 punchy hands or the fists. And then these are probably going to be the utilized, that one's the right hand. Tighten up there again. That's the right hand for the Tech 9. You can see he's got the trigger finger on it. And then that's the left hand for the knife. Alright, and the moment you guys have been waiting for.
No, please, what is that? Don't tell me.
The Guardian that came with it. He looks awesome. He looks great. You know, it was kind of, I remember when I saw that this was kind of like the big get with this figure, I was kind of like, alright, I guess I'm kind of there. You know, I would have rather had seen, you know, different accessories or whatever, but this is actually kind of cool. You know, when you think about the fact that they're probably not going to release any more figures for this franchise, at least not anytime soon, this is just an element that when added to the base with the figure, it kind of really just makes it all one encompassed, like a little mini diorama of sorts, you know, and it kind of just brings that vibe to the whole thing. So I actually think this was a really smart choice. The sculpt on it is awesome. You know, this guy is basically just a big blobby brain looking guy, kind of looks like Krang from Ninja Turtles, except, you know, he's just covered with eyeballs everywhere. Paint apps on it aren't my favorite. I'm just gonna say that right now. He looks a little flat. You know, with the lighting that I have going on here, he's actually getting a lot of contour and contrast that via the camera lens that he does not have in person. So he looks, you know, he was made for the camera, but in person he looks pretty dull. You know, there wasn't really an effort here to hit it with any washes that would seep into the crevices and, you know, give it some depth. There were a lot of eyeballs to paint on this thing, which I'm sure was a pain in the ass in its own way. So maybe that's where all the effort went, even though not all the eyeballs themselves look great. But, you know, considering that this was just the included piece, not a proper part of the figure, this is definitely something to consider customizing. I mean, hell, why not? You know, this would be not only fun to paint, but it could potentially be very rewarding if you get a good paint job on it. So, oh, that's the little peg hole there, so you can plop him onto his own little stand. He goes on the stand with Jack. But he looks cool, guys. I like him. I just wish he was painted a little better. Okay, before I get into posing the character, I did run into a couple of things here that I want to show you guys. You know, just kind of things to keep in mind. One of them's pretty cool. The other one, pretty not cool. But let's go with the cool one first. I just saw this was in the box. Kind of hard to get in good with those. But these are extra, like, you know, kind of little rhinestoney, you know, or rivets, buttons, whatever you want to call them. But they're extra little buttons that you can put onto the jacket if you happen to lose any of, like, these guys here. You know, you got one replacement button for that, and then the other one, the more shiny one, is the replacement button for his pants. So, you know, I thought that was a nice, you know, little inclusion. You know, they don't have to do stuff like that, but you know, they kind of acknowledging, hey, things happen. Those things are only glued in place. In the event something gets lost, you got replacement. So pretty cool. All right, now let's move on to the not so cool part. This is the, you know, the basic little kind of bent wire that they give you to place the guard in on the base with Jack. There's no included instructions, so it doesn't tell you exactly how this is supposed to slot in. If you look though, there is very much at the back side of the base. This is where the crotch grabber goes, and then there's 3 buttons, or 3 holes rather, right here on the back. So you have to assume, like, oh, maybe it goes there. But when you initially try, like those holes there are tiny, like teeny tiny little needle holes. You know, that one I didn't tamper with at all, so you can see how tiny those holes are to begin with. So when you start trying to shove this in there, I mean, it's basically like you're just trying to break the plastic and shove it through, and it doesn't feel natural when you spent almost, you know, at this point, gosh, what are we at with shipping? Almost $300 on a thing. You don't ever want to be forcing stuff. Things should just kind of slide in where they slide in, or at the very least, they should come with instructions to let you know that you're not about to break the new collectible you just spent all this money on. So I kind of just, you know, did the any, mini, miny, mo, picked one. I ended up landing on that one, and I just shoved this thing kind of in there like a mother humper, and eventually it did pop and go through. So, you know, intuition serves correct in this case. That is very much what you're supposed to do. Just kind of bear in mind, it doesn't go in there easily. You're gonna have to force it in, and then after that first time that you force it in, it should, you know, just kind of come in and out more naturally, you know, as that, you know, the occasion arises. There's 3 different peg holes that you can put it in. I guess if you want to put them in, you know, 3 different positions, kind of cool, I guess. But there you go. There's that. Just something to keep in mind. All right, guys, here he is. Not the most original pose. I feel like this is kind of the pretty much the iconic pose that most people are going with. You know, I'm kind of yet to figure out exactly what I want to do with him. It's getting a little late for me though, so I don't have too much energy to be screwing around with him and figuring out, you know, exactly what I want. But this is essentially what I'm going to be going with, accessories wise, and, you know, just the general look. He's going to be going in the cabinet pretty similar to this. He's got the Guardian, you know, right behind him over the shoulder. The peg is adjustable, so you can move that thing higher and lower. Can't really move him too much lower though, because then he'll basically just be blocked by the arms. So you kind of need to have him pretty high. You know, this figure, he has my my seal of approval on it, guys. For what it's worth, I love it. I'm gonna keep it. Not even gonna consider sending it back or trying to sell it. This is mine. I love him. He's good to go. I saw on the Sideshow website today, officially today, they changed the button on the page from pre-order to buy now. So you can just go onto the website now and buy this figure and have him shipped to you as soon as you pay for it. He is limited 1,500 figures. I have no idea how many they actually sold, but in the event that people are gonna starting to get turned on to this figure, he could sell relatively quick. Who knows? But right now you do have an opportunity to still own this thing. So for what it's worth, I would say get him. He looks good. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Of course at the end I'll post a few pictures that I took with the other camera. Hopefully get some better quality look at this guy. And that's gonna about wrap it for this one. Catch you on the next one. Late.